Hey everyone, welcome back to Diaspora Dad. I'm Chigo. Today, we're looking at a story that deserves far more attention in the West: the ongoing violence in Nigeria, the world's largest African democracy. The United States recently warned that Nigeria must do more to protect its Christian population after years of kidnappings, church attacks, and community killings. This video isn't about taking sides. It's about truth, accountability, and the global fight for human rights. In northern Nigeria, among states like Benue, Kaduna, Plateau, and Borno, entire villages have been destroyed by armed groups, sometimes called bandits, sometimes terrorists. The United States State Department's 2023 report on international religious freedom notes that Boko Haram and ISWAP remain among the deadliest insurgents in Africa. Thousands of civilians, many of them Christians, have been murdered or displaced, while others, including Muslims, have also suffered from extremist violence and government neglect. In October 2025, President Trump publicly said he had directed the Pentagon to prepare options if Nigeria failed to stop what he called the slaughter of Christians. That statement shook the diplomatic table, and for once, the world started paying attention. Nigeria's government pushed back, calling the comments misinformed and insisting that violence there affects all faiths and stems from poverty, terrorism, and corruption, not an official war on Christianity. Now, that's partly true, but it also reveals a deeper problem: years of reluctance and inaction by multiple governments to decisively confront extremist violence. For over a decade, Nigerian leaders have negotiated with militants, offered amnesty to fighters, and sometimes reintegrated them into society, while journalists, activists, and whistleblowers get jailed. In 2024, the proposed counter-subversion bill threatened long sentences for vague, subversive acts, which rights groups said targeted critics. Reporters were detained under cybercrime laws for exposing corruption. And reformers and agitators like Nnamdi Kanu, Omoyele Sowore have faced arrest or intimidation instead of dialogue. This double standard, soft on extremists, harsh on reformers, has weakened the country's unity. Nigeria anchors West Africa. If it collapses under insecurity, the ripple effect reaches Europe, the Middle East, and the United States. When the U.S. raises its voice, it isn't just moral posturing. It's a recognition that religious freedom and stability go hand in hand. Even if Washington's motives include oil and regional strategy, exposing the killings and calling for reform is still the right move. Now, major outlets like CNN or the BBC have underreported the crisis, but groups like Open Doors USA and Amnesty International have repeatedly documented mass violence against Christian communities. So, when an American president finally says enough, it matters. Now, Nigeria's fragility comes from imbalance. North versus South, faith versus faith, wealth versus poverty. Its strength was always supposed to be diversity, but now that diversity feels weaponized. The truth is, until Nigeria builds institutions stronger than its divisions, extremists and corrupt elites will keep exploiting fear. I've heard some say, Nigerians abroad shouldn't comment. But silence doesn't heal nations. Those of us that are born and bred in the diaspora, whether in Houston, London, or Toronto, can use our freedom responsibly. We should inform, donate, and advocate, not for one religion, but for equal justice for all Nigerians and people around the world. We must also recognize that many Muslims are victims too. Extremists harm Islam when they turn faith into fear. The message should be, no one's life is worthless because of their belief. Peace will not come through silence or slogans. It will come through courageous reform. Here's what must happen. Nigeria's government must protect every citizen equally, Christian, Muslim, or otherwise. It must stop calling organized terrorists bandits and start dismantling them. It must end the harassment of journalists and reformers. It must ensure free, transparent elections so power belongs to the people, not a few elites. And the international community, including the United States, must keep up diplomatic pressure, human rights sanctions, and targeted aid to strengthen peace building. The United States should be thanked, not for military threats, but for finally acknowledging a crisis that global media ignored. Attention saves lives. Here's what must happen now. Nigeria must choose justice over silence, unity over fear, and leadership over excuses. Its government must stop protecting reputations and start protecting people. Faith leaders, Christian and Muslim alike, must condemn violence together, not from opposite corners. And the diaspora must keep shining light because darkness thrives where truth is whispered. The United States and its allies must keep up urgent reform, not to dominate Nigeria, but to defend the principle that every life counts. Now, if these steps happen, Nigeria can still become what it was meant to be, a beacon of faith, diversity, and freedom in Africa. I'm Chigo, and this is Diaspora Dad. Subscribe, share, and join the conversation. Let's keep building bridges and reminding the world that peace is not passive. It's a product of courage and justice.